How absolutely gorgeous do these homemade chicken meatballs look? They're super easy to make, absolutely delicious, and can be served with your favorite side, or you can even pop them into some crusty bread for a delicious sandwich. Sally that girl in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally That Girl in the Kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make chicken meatballs. Yes, I know it sounds simple and you're probably thinking, I know how to make a chicken meatball, but I'm telling you, it's all about the combination of seasonings. It's all about what we use to soften that meatball and make sure we keep it moist. And of course, when we add it to the sauce that we're going to put together, they are going to be delicious. So a chicken meatball is always a little bit healthier. It's a healthier alternative to a classic meatball, but we will not be sacrificing flavor. We are going to sear these first to really develop their flavor and get those golden bits going, and they are going to be delicious. So I am super excited to teach you how to make these. So let's not wait another second and let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 2 pounds of ground chicken. I'm using ground chicken as opposed to ground breast because this is a combination of both dark and white meat, and I find that it's more moist and I prefer it. 2 cloves of garlic, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of dried basil, a half a teaspoon of dried oregano, a half a teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, 2 large eggs, 3/4 of a cup of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs, 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 8 ounces or 1 cup of tomato sauce, and 12 ounces or 1.5 cups of your favorite pasta sauce, a 1/4 cup of chicken broth, and some fresh chopped parsley for garnishing, which I absolutely love. It adds a little bit of color and a little bit of flavor, but it is completely optional. You will also need a cutting board and a knife, a serving spoon, a long set of tongs, a large bowl, a small bowl and a fork, a medium-sized pot with a lid, some dry measuring cups, some measuring spoons, a couple of wet measuring cups, and a large skillet. So now that we have all of our ingredients and tools together, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is finely mince your 2 garlic cloves. You want them finely minced because you want it distributed amongst that chicken. You don't want large chunks. And then you want to chop up some of that fresh parsley if you're going to be using it at the end. And then you just go ahead and place your ground chicken into a large bowl and bring over that finely minced garlic, and you're going to add all of that in. You'll notice I use my hands a lot, but I'm constantly washing them. They are impeccably clean. So now I have the garlic in. Now I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of onion powder, then 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a half a teaspoon of dried basil, a half a teaspoon of dried oregano, a half a teaspoon of paprika. This will add a little bit of color, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, and then I'm going to bring over 3/4 of a cup of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs, and I'm going to add those in. And then I'm going to grab 2 large eggs. I'm going to crack them in a bowl, beat them real well, and then I'm going to add in the beaten eggs. Now I start with my fork and I just incorporate all of the ingredients just making sure that that egg, those breadcrumbs, all of those seasonings become well distributed amongst the ground chicken. And then I'm going to switch to my hands to form my chicken meatballs. You can use gloves if you prefer. I like to use my hands. So now I just grab a chunk of the ground chicken, and what I'm looking to make is a ball about the size of the palm of my hand. You see I can kind of cup it in the palm of my hand. That's the size I'm going for. If I do them this size, I get 12 meatballs out of 2 pounds of ground chicken. But you can go half this size and then get 24 meatballs, or just a little smaller than mine and get 18. It's a matter of preference. I like them large, but that's totally up to you. Then you're going to want to add 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil to a large skillet, and then just kind of swirl that oil around. And then you're going to turn your stove on to medium and just give the pan a moment to kind of get a little hot. Then as soon as that oil starts to heat up a bit, you can start adding your meatballs. Why do we want a large skillet? Because we don't want to crowd our skillet. We want plenty of room to be able to sear these meatballs and to turn them. So you definitely want plenty of surface area. And so what we do is we leave them for about 3 or 4 minutes on one side before we turn them. We want to make sure to get a golden color. So I'll show you what I mean. It's been about 2 or 3 minutes. They still need another minute or so. You want to make sure they're nice and golden before you turn them. So that's the color you're looking for. And once you see that they're developing that beautiful golden crust, then use your tongs and then just turn your meatballs over, because what you want to do is give the other side of your meatballs an opportunity to also sear. So that's really going to add flavor to these meatballs. So in the meantime, while those are browning up, I'm going to put together my sauce in a medium-sized pot. So I'm going to add 12 ounces or a cup and a half of my favorite pasta sauce. So I actually came up with this combination one night when I was just whipping together some chicken meatballs and had a little bit of pasta sauce left in the fridge, had an opened container of tomato sauce and some chicken broth, and that's how this sauce was born. But trust me, it's super delicious. So just grab your favorite pasta sauce for this step. And then you're going to add a 1/4 cup of chicken broth. This is really going to help bring out that chicken flavor of this dish. And then right on top of that, you're going to add 8 ounces or 1 cup of tomato sauce. Now, I will add that I am going to make another batch of this sauce with the same exact 3 ingredients, because I'm going to be making some pasta to go along with my chicken meatballs, and I want to toss my pasta in the same sauce. So keep that in mind. You may want to double up, or like I'm going to do separately, just make another batch of this sauce, and then just give it all a little stir and just set it aside for a moment. So now we're going back to check on our meatballs. We seared the other side, and now I'm actually turning my meatballs onto their side, because the same way I gave 3 or 4 minutes on each side of the meatball, I'm going to do this with the sides of the meatball too. I want to sear all the meatball all the way around, because it's really going to develop the flavor of these chicken meatballs by searing them all over. So now I'm doing one side before I'm putting them in the sauce, and then I'm going to go ahead and do my last side. So basically I've seared them 4 times because I really want to get all of that surface nice and golden. Look at how beautiful they are, and they're already smelling amazing. Imagine when I put them in the sauce. So now they're ready. I'm going to turn them off, and I'm going to just bring over that medium pot, and I'm going to use my tongs, and I'm going to add these beautiful meatballs that have caramelized. They look absolutely beautiful already, and I'm telling you, the smell, the flavor, phenomenal. So I just went ahead and added them into the sauce, and then I'm just going to use a spoon, and I'm just going to make sure to coat the meatballs a little bit with that sauce before turning my stove on. I just want to make sure that all the meatballs get a little bit of love from that beautiful sauce that we put together. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these and I'm going to allow them to finish cooking in this sauce. So I'm going to place my lid on, allow it to vent, and then I'm going to turn my stove on to medium, and I'm going to allow these to finish cooking. So that should take a total of about 10 minutes, and about halfway through those 10 minutes, I like to come in with my spoon. I'm using that lid to protect myself from the sauce and kind of move the chicken meatballs around to make sure they're all getting love from that yummy tomato sauce. And now it's been 10 minutes and they're ready. So now we're gonna turn our heat off and our meatballs are cooked. They seared first, then they cooked in the sauce. We wanted them to just marry with that sauce. And then we're going to serve them. Look at how gorgeous. They're still steaming. They smell incredible. They're going to be so delicious. And I'm telling you, they were super easy to put together, and they're tasty, and they're a little different than your conventional meatball, but they're still super yummy. And look at how beautiful they look. And of course, there's always a little straggler. That first pinch of parsley, one of the little pieces flew off because it has to. It just always happens. But look at how beautiful the meatballs look with that little sprinkle of fresh parsley on top. It's just something fresh and light and delicious, and it just looks beautiful, and it really adds a little touch of flavor. It's just perfect. So I went ahead and made some spaghetti with sauce that I created the same way that I created the sauce for my meatballs. I created that same sauce and tossed my spaghetti in it. And since these chicken meatballs are fairly large, I'm going to serve myself one on top. And look at how beautiful that looks. A little extra sprinkle of some fresh parsley. And tell me, anyone, just anyone, is going to be thrilled to receive this plate for dinner, for lunch, for any time. Super, super yummy. The meatballs are tender. They're looking amazing. They're smelling even better. Wow. I cannot wait to take a bite. I'm literally salivating. They look so, so crazy good. Wow. They're perfect. They're just the perfect texture. They're soft, they're moist, they're not dry. And you see that golden part really develops the flavor. Really, really amazing. It creates just this incredible caramelization from the contact to the pan, and they're just absolutely divine. And of course, that pasta that I tossed in the same sauce is just perfect. It's really, really great with these meatballs, but you can serve this with anything. I've actually made them and served them next to yellow rice that I had in the fridge, and they were perfect. They go great with any side, really, and they're just super, super yummy. So crazy good. And you should know this about me. I'm a huge fan of pasta. All kinds of pasta, every shape and size. Super yummy. And with this sauce that has a touch of chicken broth in it, it's just spectacular. And look at that caramelization we got on those meatballs. They're perfect. No one's gonna miss the meat in these meatballs. They work beautifully with chicken. As you can see, I can't stop eating them because they're super tasty. They're just perfect. The consistency, the flavor, just absolutely divine. I know you're gonna love these guys. Here I go. I just can't stop sampling them. They're absolutely delicious, and I know you're gonna love them. So how absolutely delicious do these chicken meatballs look? I'm telling you, you will not be sacrificing flavor by using ground chicken, and the result is delicious. It's got an incredible texture, and of course that sauce. And by browning the chicken, it just brings out the flavors, and it's just absolutely divine, and I know everyone is going to love them. Trust me. Nah, better yet, don't trust me. You're gonna have to try to make this recipe yourself. And of course, if you've enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like it, to write me a sweet comment, to share it with your friends. I can't emphasize enough just how grateful I am when you share my video. If you come across one of my videos on Facebook or on Instagram, you see one of my posts, or here on YouTube, and you just want to copy that link and share it with your friends, that really helps my exposure. It helps my channel grow. So thank you so much for doing that. And of course, if you're not following me here on YouTube, please follow Sally That Girl in the Kitchen, and be sure to subscribe and touch the little notification bell so that you get notified every time I put up a new recipe video, which I'm doing all the time. And of course, follow me on social media too. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest as Sally That Girl in the Kitchen, and on Twitter, Snapchat, and TikTok as Sally That Girl FL. And of course, my Amazon store. Don't forget about that. You can find the link to that right in the banner of my YouTube channel if you're viewing on an iPad or on a computer. And if not, it's pinned to the top of both my Facebook page and my Instagram page for your convenience. And I feature a lot of the tools that I use here in the kitchen in that store for your convenience, in case you see something and think, ooh, I love that. I really need to have it. So you can go over there and check it out. And as always, I just want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Sally That Girl in the Kitchen.